it is time now, and thank you all for attending. We have with us Wayne Chapman, our KCC reform member, who you've met before, and Johnny Shelton, obviously, who you've met before many times. So would you like a platform, Wayne, just to kick off? You kindly sent through details of what you've been doing around and about, but is there anything that's like especially to say?
Nothing especially to say. I do have my monthly report, which I think you may have that circulated amongst yourselves or available on the village parish website. That gives a bit of a general outline of some of the things that have been going on. Obviously, everyone's really super interested on the tarmac on the roads. We've just recently finished a really fantastic programme on the Cranbrook Road, so I'm pleased with that. That's now completed. So yeah, as I always say, please, any problems, report it in the proper manner. Go on the Kent County Council website. That saves us money by you doing it electronically. If you phone up, it costs a £5 every time you phone up to report something, whereas on the website it is a very small, very small cost for that to be done, so that's helping. But yeah, we're being extremely proactive on that side of things. I am here tomorrow night, as I was speaking of earlier with one of your colleagues here, in relation to the residents down in Stone with their children needing transport to school for the bus, so seeing what we can fathom out between us or what we can approach to the committee. The ironic thing is I feel a little bit like a coach turned gamekeeper, because I am at times the chairman of the Home to School Transport Appeal Panel. So I do know what we're up against, and I'll be honest from the get-go, it's not good. But I am looking at a couple of other little options. I'm just waiting to see what comes to fruition with that. I've thrown in a couple of little questions to the officers, and there's been a bit of radio silence. So there must be something in what I've asked of them, and let's see what comes of that in the coming days. But I'll be here with one of your colleagues tomorrow to go through that. But also I've been speaking with Yvonne in regards to this piece of land up here in the village. It's a small piece of land. We've still got to get a time when I'm available to come and have a look in the daylight, so then for me to grasp exactly what is there and what you would like to obtain as a village, ownership or right of way. Or
what piece of land is that?
No man's land outside the church.
No, I thought it was, I just didn't know. Yeah.
It is a complicated issue, actually, and you do really need to see.
Yeah. I guess that issue's been there for quite a while, so it won't be fixed overnight.
So 100 years.
Yeah.
Should I be in that meeting? No, I would like to be.
And the meeting hasn't been convened yet.
No.
It will just be an informal turn up, have a look, just for me to get a little bit of an idea and an understanding, take a couple of photos of what you've got there and what you would like to gain from it. I know that if this has to go through the regulation committee, there will be a very long delay on that, because I know some of those items can take up to 2 years, because I am on the regulation committee. But if it then is a matter of like highways and transport, or if it's another one of the departments, then hopefully we can get a faster result of what you're hopefully looking for. Is there any questions or anything that anyone has for myself in the room here at all, please?
No.
Any particular issues? No, I think it's very kind of you to put out these monthly indications of what you've been up to. It's a service we didn't have before. I think it.
Is there any sort of sense of forward direction on the reorganisation? Obviously we've got Ashford here as well, and I suspect you're not actually on the same page from council levels, but
on council levels we're probably not, and Wayne will know more than I do. Ashford will need to express its preference on the 27th of November. The
day before you have to send it in.
Yes, I mean the council meetings are 7:30 and the cabinet meetings are ratified at 9. That's how last minute we're going.
There's a few more than 5 models there, Councillor Shilton, because there are some other councils that are putting forward some of their own ideas that are still yet to be seen. So, people that, has everybody in the room here got a knowledge or a basic understanding of what local government reorganisation is? Yeah? Okay. So, we are, as a council, and it was in our last week full council meeting, we're putting forward our option, which is 1A as Kent County Council. Now, we are one of the 14 that are putting forward an idea or plan of what we see as the better option. 1A is something that we have exclusively devised ourselves as Kent County Council, and we see that as a better option for the taxpayer, because it is totally self-funding, and over a 10-year period it is then into a good profit of hundreds of millions in profit. Other models are reliant upon investment from central government, which is taxpayers' pockets, whichever way you look at it, which also will be compounding on council tax bills as well. Whichever option is looked at, there will be increases in council tax bills. That is totally inevitable. It will be happening with LGR, local government reorganisation. But this is why our stance as Reform UK, the administration of Kent County Council, we are 100% against local government reorganisation and devolution. The two items are totally separate, but they are conjoined. Devolution is the next step, which is then a mayoralship, which will then be over the top of all of Kent. So it's then taking away also your democratic rights even more within Kent. So, as I say, we have got to go with an option, because that's what we've been told by central government. The Labour central government told us we've got to put in an option. So we have to put in something. Us being Reform, that's why we've come up with a better option than what Labour gave us to choose from, and our option is definitely a lot better financially for the residents of Kent, and that's option 1A.
And what is 1A?
So 1A, all of the other options, as I say, the government are asking for their in time to then follow on with devolution, so there's a mayoralship that will sit over the top of everything. Now, there will still be the 3 or 4 unitary areas within Kent. The option that we are going with is there is not a mayoralship, but there is a upper tier, like as an assembly type of setup, where there's an upper tier, and that will hold within it those key items that are really important within Kent, like adult social care, like the SEND requirements for children, like the highways and transport. All of those things are all going to sit in this upper tier, because then that's the key strategic setup for Kent. Because otherwise, when you're going across the unitaries, you're going to have a patchwork of all different policies that if you live in one unitary area but need to have care, or someone's moved to another area, there may be cross policies between, as I say, a bit of a patchwork and a bit of a minefield for some people to work between. But with what we're suggesting, 1A, it will be totally clear, because that will all sit in this over the top section, which will be like the strategic part of KCC still in existence. There will still be 3 unitaries underneath, as what is being asked of, and within there will be all of the items that are the lower items within KCC and everything that you have within boroughs at present.
Right. So let's just take an example. Since highways is strategic and covers all of Kent at the minute, so it goes into the upper tier.
Yeah.
Do the 3 unitaries, who are of course not unitary anymore really, do they do some of the highways work but not the strategic part?
No. In our proposal, it stays in highways, it's in the upper tier.
So it's a sort of Kent and districts, but the districts will be reduced from about 12 to 3,
Uh-huh.
and you may shuffle a bit across the boundaries like maybe trading standards goes down or something else goes up. But basically,
Yeah, there will be a little bit of that going on. But if you just think of the simple things, you're thinking maybe from the get-go highways, you're just thinking of repairing the roads. What about gritting the roads? So you've now got to have depots with all of those salt gritting lorries for each of the 3 unitaries. So they've got to have their own depots, they've got to have their own lorries, they've got to have that whole management scheme, they've got to have everything. Why are we doing that? We have a perfectly fine system that works in place. We're just sticking with what we've got in that respect.
Can I understand that? Thank you.
From a political angle, the current government weren't very kind to Kent in the first place in that they didn't put them as a priority. You're sort of defying, they've got to be clearly interested in having mayors, have they not, throughout the country. So, I mean, I think it's very commendable, I'm sure, and it might well be the right thing for Kent. But whether or not it's acceptable to a socialist government set on a plan involving mayors, I mean, you can only do your best with your submission. Surrey has now gone into 2. And are they taking a mayor over the 2?
So I don't know about a mayor, but it's worth noting that the councils almost universally voted for 3. The public consultation said they'd quite like 3, and the government said you're going to get 2. So irrespective of what sadly Wayne or I or the councils we represent say, it's a decision for the central government, and I suspect a mayor will be the same, irrespective of what we say.
It is whatever they are choosing to put forward, as you know, whatever we all put forward as the 14 different councils, the Labour central government will choose which option it wishes to have. Us as Kent County Council have no greater value in this. We are just one of 14. But what we are hoping for, and as I say, we are actually against this, but what we're hoping for is we can then get to a certain point, and then as KCC with all the Kent residents, we're hoping to force a judicial review once we then get to that point. Because there's actually been no consultation with the greater public, the taxpayers, the council taxpayers, who will be picking up the bill for this. So they need to be consulted.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That brings us right up to date on that subject. Anything else for Wayne? By all means, stay and listen. Go when you feel you want to.
Thank you.
Johnny, any issues that you'd like to highlight?
I think Wayne's covered the pressing issue at the moment. Ashford Borough Council is running a consultation that you can input into as a parish or irrespective of one's views of local government organisation. Probably is good news for parish councils, at least will gain more powers, or whether they'll get more funding. I wouldn't like to speculate, but there is that at least.
Okay. Any particular questions for Johnny in respect of local issues at all?
I wanted to raise something about the Swan, but it's on the agenda. Should we wait till then?
Well, we might.
I don't know how long Tony's going to be here for.
Depends how long you're going to go. Doesn't matter.
This is obviously recorded, but we are aware now that the planning application is in for decision at the November Ashford meeting. I shall certainly speak, Johnny will speak, and we understand that from Stuart Hibbert that there are 2 representatives of the village who are also going to register to speak. We believe and hope that all these are opposing the planning application. We feel the Swan still has a life here, and to allow the planning application for change of use to go through would potentially remove it from the village forever. And it's not time for that. We haven't got to that actual situation that should happen. Lots of pubs are going out of business every day, and it's very important, I think, that where we see the village wishes to retain its pub, that we should pursue that line as hard as we possibly can. And that's on November the 19th, when I'm glad to say I'm around, and I think Johnny is as well.
Can I just add a couple of points on that? Going through the papers for that particular item, On the section of objection and support, the objection is, I have no problem with that because as a parish council we were unanimous on that. I was very uncomfortable with some of the things that were put forward to support the change of use, and I guess it's for people who are going to be at that particular meeting. I'm not. They talked about multiple landlords over the years, and I was struggling to find more than 3 in the last 15 years, but they were talking about the last 10 years, the past decade, and we haven't had multiple landlords there. We've had more than 1, but we haven't had so that's not really correct. Lack of local support, low patronage, the fact there wasn't a food offering, apart from occasional Friday night tide nights, which is not necessarily a family offering. And I think that the other thing I had a problem with was the generous offer to the community from the owner, which was about a 5-year interest-free purchase plan. The problem with that was, however generous that might be, setting the price above market value is just disingenuous. You know, you can be terribly generous and say, look, you know, you can have interest free. Oh, by the way, the price is 600,000. Well, if you look at any of the pubs that are operating in the market, it's overpriced. And economic realities support has highlighted the challenge of running a rural pub. Yes, there are challenges, but within probably 10 or 15 minutes drive of here, there are 3 or 4 really good country rural pubs that manage to make a success, even though it is tough times. So I just think that maybe I'm stating the obvious, but I just think it's important just to say, you know, some of these points, if I was on the planning committee and I didn't know much about it and what have you, and I read this and I thought, well, they're obviously not interested in this village, and it's a lovely pub and they didn't bother to do anything. That's fundamentally wrong, and the points that have been put forward here are incorrect, factually. So, just wanted to...
I think just following on from what Paul said, there's also, and I didn't study this, I skimmed through it, but there seems to be a logical flaw in the economic department's response. Oh yes, it's been marketed for whatever period of time, etc., etc. Now, okay, that's true, I'm not disputing that, it's how to sign up. But pubs are valued on their turnover. The landlord is saying his turnover is bad, and therefore it's not viable. He's got a high price on it, on any basis at all, because he paid in auction quite a lot, more than it was valued at the time, and they spent well on it. And therefore he's marketing it at a price which he has himself said isn't justified. All pubs are valued on turnover and trading. He himself is saying it's not trading profitably, therefore it's not worth very much. I've marketed it for much more than that and I wasn't successful. This is just a logical contradiction at the very basis of it. It has not been marketed at the value that his own trading justified.
I think we do need to elaborate. I haven't looked at it in detail, but Yvonne is indicating to me that one of the major considerations was the inability to operate profitably. And of course, the counter argument has always been that without a good food offering, there's no way it would operate profitably, and he knows that as well as everyone else do. We have, of course, heard that there could be some interest from members of the village. Certainly the meetings we held previously, it was obvious that the village as a whole wants to retain the pub, that's since COVID, it's been very difficult to muster support for almost anything really. I think it's a change of psychology really, that people have just, in difficult economic times, this is a particularly bad month for most people, it's going to be. So I think anyway, you couldn't expect to sell much in the way of real estate, and I know that's my own cost in the last couple of years. So it's just a shame that he's pushed his case and the case has been adopted by the planning officer, despite the fact that I'm sure in the instructions to planners are that they should attempt to sustain local local hubs like the pub if they possibly can. And if they, but I would agree that if you look at the pro and con I mean, Kevin mustered, I think, quite a number of his regulars to write in favour, and there are not as many objections from villagers as I would have liked to have seen. But I still feel, it's a fight that we've got to take on.
And the local support bit, I mean, if we take it over 10 years, which is the sort of dead general tenure of this, we, as you know, because you were leading it, we were mustering a very, very positive community acquisition, and we've got a lot of support. We even got grants from certain organisations to help us with the business plan and so on, and then COVID hit us. So to say that there was a lack of local support, that was not true. We had a lot of people supporting. We had a committee set up. We've had public meetings now, 2 or 3 of them. But circumstance, like a lot of the country, we got hit by COVID, and people didn't have the confidence to put their savings forward for a venture like this because it was such an unknown level. Anyhow.
Anyway, we'll be there making our points.
Thanks very much.
Email address those.
Featherstone community, since COVID, have been successful in taking the George pub over, so there is a bit of hope there for you all. So.
And local pubs, I mean, you've got the Ewe and Lamb at Rolvenden Lane, which is 7 days a week going well. You've got the Woodcock at Iden Green, which is a huge success. And you've got the Furnival farming family have taken over the Woolpack at Brooklands, which we went to that 5 or 6 weeks ago, and it was really, really good in there. And that's a sort of a lone building on the marsh.
Yeah, I'm a bit partial to the Black Lion myself, so that's another one that's quite lively and successful. It's really nice. Got a good community.
And you've got 2 pubs in Rolvenden. I mean, it's only a village our size, it's got 2.
Okay, fine. So again, Johnny, as and when you wish to do so. So we'll now move into the Parish Council meeting proper. Item 1 on the agenda, we've got no apologies because we've got no absentees, is that right? Correct. No one is seeking any dispensation. We know about the recording being made. So item 3, you've all had copies of the minutes of the last meeting. Sally will usually keen to point out elements. Happy this time. So thank
Just
you
a
for last
tiny
time.
matter of revising, if you like.
In the
With a
chamber.
very small M.
Oh, sorry.
A very small M. I'm not asking you to change it. Just a point for the clerk in whatever it is, 4888 E. Highways. The clerk had asked our highway steward to check the water running down Underhill, which is very sensible. I'm just wondering whether it sort of struck home that I mentioned a while ago, not in the council meeting, that now I'm trying to think of his name, the chap who farms halfway down Peening Quarter.
Browns.
Yeah. He mentioned to me, and I mentioned to you, that if the highway steward got hold of him, he knew the exact origins of this problem because he dug it out decades ago. And really, if everyone goes and sort of ponders it rather than actually finds out what was done in terms of the ditch.
Yes, I need to.
Which of the Browns was that?
Simon
Simon, okay.
Brown. He said that 20 years ago or something, he dug that ditch out with the highways, and he knows exactly where the water's coming from. He told me, and he will pass it on if he's asked.
Yes, you can say I just need to. I need
You've got
to
to pull together. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's right.
That's what I'm saying. Just mention it because I know these things can slip through the cracks.
Definitely.
Okay, thanks for that, Jeremy.
I mean, just when we were talking about the Browns, Paul kindly told me the other day that Bernard, who'd been doing that sort of work for as long as anybody can possibly remember, 70 years probably, has just died, and that's a sadness.
Is that Simon's father?
That's
No.
Simon's uncle, actually.
Who did all the hedge cutting and everything? Yes.
And there were 5 brothers, and Gordon died sadly last year, and Bernard this year.
Okay,
So,
so
you can
initials?
have.
Thank you very much. Right, Sports Club lease update. Probably most of you know where that is, and that it's currently very much with the Charity Commission, who are contemplating an objection from you-know-who, and will make a decision. It's out of the hands of anybody on either side now. And it should happen any day now, I would have thought. They've had a bit of time already.
They said 3
Yes.
weeks, and that was probably 2 months ago.
Yeah. So I think we're optimistic that there'll be a decent outcome to that and things will move forward. But it's very annoying for everybody, and most importantly for John Mallett himself. Land fronting St John the Baptist Church, this is what Wayne was referring to. So there will be a meeting now at some point to determine whose is what and what to be done about it. The parish council does have an interest possibly in taking possession once ownership is fully identified, and we can plan the way forward. Caretaker scheme update. Any more to report?
Well, only that meeting a month ago we've had a reply from Ashford to say that they were confirming the 9,090 that they were offering us, together with CPI increase from 26-27. We were talking about more words to go with that.
Indeed, and I just wanted to be clear because I'd sent you a longer letter to use.
I wanted to clarify whether we were going to get it from day one of the new contract.
Well, absolutely.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
there's
but I
two
haven't had
things. One was the
anything.
longer. I sent you something probably 10 days ago,
Oh,
but
no,
I will
pick that
double
up.
check that that's
Yes, I
gone.
wouldn't mind because
But I wrote a
writing.
longer version of what you had, and then separately I said that I thought that we needed a form of words. We didn't necessarily have to nail it down now, but at least a form of words that left us to argue that the inflation should be from April this year, obviously operable next year, but not starting next year, because the 9090 is based on this year's prices. So next year is new prices. But the way they've put it, they could say, well, it's 9090 next year. Well, that's
Nice.
facile, because
Okay.
no one knows
The
what
other
the
way.
next year will be. They haven't got a CPI number
No.
yet.
No, that's why they haven't stated
Don't
it.
it?
No, indeed.
I've taken it that we will get it next year, but they don't know what it is, so they
No,
can't
I
tell us.
understand that, but they've given themselves wiggle room to back out of that.
Yeah.
It'll be CPI from next year, meaning that's where we start. We need it to start from April
Oh,
this
yes,
year.
which is what I'm thinking
Indeed,
then,
absolutely.
but we need to confirm.
Okay, so I will double check that. I'm pretty sure that it went,
Oh, okay.
whether it arrived, of course,
That's
is
what
always
we
another thing.
Lovely, thank you. I had a chat with Alf. Apparently he has been approached by Wareham councillors who are very dismayed and asked whether anything can be done.
Well, the point I think that I've tried to make throughout is that it really is, bearing in mind the figures that we've seen, it's time to withdraw to our own boundaries.
Yes,
And that Alf is very welcome. He will have 2 spare days anyway beyond our work to offer to other people. But what he mustn't do is use our machinery
Yes.
or our vehicle, which are,
He does know.
yeah. So if he chooses to extend the work he does, that's fine, but he'll have to find some other machinery to do it with. The main thing is that Ashford have confirmed the figure that we knew about, and we built that into the caretaker budget for next year. So we're ready to move forward, and Alf is free to move forward in the manner that we suggested along the way. Just a little bit of background. We were doing work outside under special schemes have been going on since 2014, I think, something like that, 2012, and providing a very good service to other villages, but we're gradually seeing that our end of the cost creep up and up and up, and we were losing actually a lot of money on it. So we've drawn a line now and going to set it up so that Touchwood we break even or better. So that's behind that.
Under HR, do we have to give our formal,
Notice.
or enter into some sort of formal agreement with him?
Or will be,
Yes.
there will be a new contract.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. I have spoken to him, obviously, numerous occasions. We've been open with him right the way through, and he was one that suggested reducing hours as well.
Hmm.
So he is quite happy. Whether you would like a formal meeting with him.
How much notice do we have to give him on the contract, that his contract of employment he's got at the moment?
3 months.
Right, so we need to be starting to think about that.
In the new year,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Mm.
He should have a formal letter
Mm.
confirming, if you like, the new arrangements. Yeah. Trees in the churchyard overhang the school playing field. This is a ridiculous item where the school consider that there's an overhang which is potentially dangerous to a long way off being really dangerous, I think. But the problem is that instead of coming straight to Parish Council and the matter being dealt with, they went to the diocese because the trees are in the churchyard, and the whole thing's got tied up in dreadful bureaucratic mess. The trees remain uncut as far as I'm aware. The danger therefore persists, and we have to wait for...
None of the work that's to be done is really terribly radical. I mean, it would have been perfectly easy for somebody like a church warden to nip down there with his chainsaw and do it in 20 minutes.
Well, I've offered to do it.
You could have done it with a handsaw as well. And the biggest branch is no more than that. So it has become a monstrosity of administration, which is...
In that case, Alan.
I mean, I could speak at their dead of night.
No. Could you tell me, the big horse chestnut tree,
Yeah.
how much are they going to, or how much
Just the
do
ones,
you think
just the ones,
that...
just the ones that overhang a child.
Yeah, but I need the meter in meters. This is what's causing all the
Length
problems.
or width.
The meter, the crown lift in meters is what I need.
Oh, the
And
crown
I
lift.
can't get that out of Richard.
Well, I mean,
ignoring
it's,
me, I'm sorry.
they're quite, I mean, the horse chestnut tree, that's the
Yes,
biggest
that's
tree.
the one.
And its trunk is that size. So, I mean, you can imagine the crown, this is the crown where, what is the crown? It's the crown at the top of the tree.
It's the overall shape.
See, it's a tree.
Okay, if you're going to take a third of the tree crown off, you basically reduce it that way.
Well,
now, in answer to your question, how long is the offending branch?
Well, it comes right over so for instance, if this is the churchyard fencing, it stretches over just behind your head.
So you're talking about 3 metres?
The problem is it's an old chestnut tree, so it's been damaged before.
Yeah,
And as you know, with chestnut, what happens is you knock out the top and then 20 branches shoot up from that.
Yeah.
And then 30 years later, it's all hanging over again.
Yeah, but if you need a crowning figure, and that's 3 metres, I'd go with a 3 metre crown.
Yeah. So that's a technical answer.
It just simplifies
Yeah.
matters.
But I mean, it's a head-in-hand situation, really. It's a complete head-in-hand situation.
It's
And they must learn that you don't go to the diocese for this sort of thing because they get terribly constipated about it. You just go straight to the church warden.
well, they came straight to us last time and it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
They just
And
went.
it's just they were afraid of it administratively naive.
But it's Ashford planning,
Tree warden.
which interestingly, there's another planning application, not where it's a tree, I picked up. It's along the footpath behind 22 Forge Meads. They want to reduce there, and one of the complaints that I had on one of the maps I gave, I hadn't marked out where north was. Well, on any of the things that's been on this application, nowhere is north marked. Yet I get the thing back to say you didn't mark north. it's
Time to stop bothering with planning
inconsistent.
applications and just do them.
It is frustrating sometimes.
But it's
to know
because
so
the
well.
diocese, you see, the diocese mentioned that as well.
Sure.
So it's all,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
I don't think North's in the same place it's been for many years.
Quite.
The top of the
Anyway,
mountain
so
is
that
quite
was,
common.
so it's Ashford and the diocese I'm having to produce
Yeah.
paperwork for.
When in due time the church becomes the property of the parish.
Yes.
And
Will be
then
simplified.
some of us have determined it should in due course.
I'll bring it along under my arm.
We won't need,
Anyway, that's another.
we won't need
That's
a
right.
faculty then to build on the graveyard.
No. Okay. Highway improvement plan update. We have
Waiting, yes, I'm waiting for dates from
Yeah.
Karen.
We've submitted
Yeah,
what we would
I've
like
got
to
it two
do.
different ways now, the new email address and the other, to see
Well
if I
done.
can get anywhere.
Okay. Now this is one that may have taxed a few of you. It certainly taxed me.
Okay,
New
I thought
government.
I'd let you all go first.
took me house. Yes, God. But that's, it's probably just me.
Yeah. We are supposed to be morphing
How
to
have you done, Paul?
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't done it yet. Then I looked at it and I thought, it's just setting up a new email address.
I
And-
ignored it, I'm right.
Well,
I just couldn't bear it.
Well, I just,
I'm assuming it's just setting up a new email address.
It just doesn't seem to be quite as easy as that.
No.
And I've gone
Okay.
a long way down that path.
Yeah.
And
Well,
at the last moment it objects.
I'm relying entirely on somebody like you to
Well, no, if
ease me forward.
it's more determined than me probably, but it does annoy me that my number of email addresses is spiralling ever since I joined this magic council.
One for every month of the day of the month, really.
And but apparently that's what we have to do. It's not a question of not
I
doing.
suppose if you all, if you all can manage to get it some sort of will, you have got them because I've given them to you, so what you do with them,
If it's any consolation and it's small, you just try the school governor's email complexities. And
that's another one.
we have about 20 of them, and they're all a source of despair.
Yeah. Well, it'll
Well, I
remain an
Do
agenda.
have it
item, I
up
think.
and running.
I'll have a crack at it and then
Yes,
You can
okay,
see
you're
what
the
you're
man.
doing. Yes, you're the one that.
You're the man, and then you can leave the sheep.
yeah, well, I'm not sure.
It was then getting onto my mobiles, the next problem. 20 to 1 I finished last night.
We do admire what
Don't encourage Alan, please.
I give no undertakings to succeed, or even if I did succeed, to use it. The computer does its own thing, and every time BT used to cut my email off, I could spend days trying to get it back,
Back
again.
again.
So
Well, I
frankly,
suppose-
this pisses me off quite a lot.
I know, knew it would. But if I'm using it, I'm the one that's emailing them, as ours. It's got to be, they've got to be, correspond with me that way. They don't do it with any of you, so.
But then you're going to anyway send everything out under the existing, copy, whatever you do, that
Yeah.
we need to see.
You hand over.
So,
I think you should, hopefully you should be able to see things from me. It shouldn't affect you. If I send it to your present addresses, not the
Yes.
new ones, you should
Oh yeah,
still,
that should work still.
should still work.
yeah.
Just should get it from Clark.
Okay, well, as I say, it will no doubt remain an agenda item for a month or two yet. Planning applications. Sorry, Stocks Road. Yeah, Stocks Road, I am pretty well up to speed, as is Johnny, on this, because we've both had correspondence with the Pipers, and although we can't go into any great detail, the developer, there is going to be no developer at the moment because the current one has run out of time and failed to go through the necessary processes. So the Pipers themselves will be, and there are certain issues connected with the application that means it will probably come back to a December planning meeting at Ashford Borough when we'll see Well,
Yeah.
they say nothing's going to change, I'm sure nothing will change, but anyway, we will probably be discussing it at the meeting that covers the Ashford December meeting. So in terms of what people tend to ask is, why hasn't anything happened? When's it going to happen? There's quite a long way to go
Oh, yeah.
before they get the whole thing going.
That we could ask reasonably, when I say ask, I mean rhetorically, that it started off with a land option, a formal, formally agreed option on the land years ago, and that, as you say, has now run out. And all that time has been faffing around by the planning authority, doing nothing, going back and forth, and then delaying it as long as possible until it couldn't be built. This is a planning authority that is not building the houses that are demanded of them by government. This does not affect the nutrient neutrality area that has screwed them for several years, and frankly it just shows that ABC are inward looking would be too polite. It's hopeless, and obviously that's nothing to do with our borough councillor, but frankly the borough is utterly inept. They may have done it even on purpose. That would at least show some strategy. But it's ludicrous that an option that was devised to be long enough to get the whole thing through has been messed up by the length of time it took to get the plan through, and then the conditions were still outstanding. And frankly, it's just, everyone else is wasting their time while Ashford makes no progress. It's appalling.
And has there been a significant change since the change of composition of the committee?
It probably won't have helped. Obviously, we lost a lot of experienced members in that respect. I think things are just getting worse. I worry that the administration sees the coming of local government reorganisation and simply may not have its foot as hard on the accelerator pedal as it ought to have done.
Yeah.
And the constant refrain from the head of the paid service is, but it's all business as usual comes first.
Is the leading executive, whoever it is, in planning, I don't know, head of the planning department, is that the same person as that? Because there was a change about 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't there?
No,
It's still Simon Cole.
Is it still Simon Cole? Okay.
I mean, I don't know how they will approach the December committee, but it's quite an unusual set of circumstances. Had some very brief correspondence with the officers who I think feel as though the last committee ought to have been the end of it, if that makes sense. So they do at least seem to acknowledge at least this element of time should not be really have taken place.
Yes. Well, I don't know the thing should really just be well established with the decision of the previous committee, rather than opening the debate again over the rights and wrongs of the development.
Well, I would be amazed if the officers try to approach the debate in any other way other than that. Whether that's what happens, obviously, is the members will decide what they'll decide, but I imagine the officers will try to set the scene as correcting some issues, but nothing's changed.
Sure. Fine. Tribear, Blackwall Road, we know that site quite well now. Additional time to implement the condition on biodiversity. He was due to plant trees, wasn't he? And said that he would. That was a condition of things.
There's one that is the biodiversity, things that he should have done before the site was actually
Developed at all.
yes.
Okay. So we better not object, hopefully, otherwise he won't do it at all. Well,
I couldn't find any documentation. There's virtually nothing against that number. There's the application form, which seems to have been the original one, with one extra paragraph, if I was right, which just says, I want extra time for this condition. We don't know exactly what condition it is and which extra time he wants, and it's all just vagueness squared.
And you can find that condition, and that condition says that there should be a condition before the site is occupied.
And that's going back to the previous application number.
Yes,
Very helpful.
where the trees were planted either fence, that might have something to do with it being biodiversity. But yes, it should have been done before it was
It's had quite a long time though, because apparently the building was completed in
Oh, yes.
February
Yes.
2023.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is there a change of,
This,
New.
is it,
yes, this
or is
is,
it
I
on the
think
market?
this
Is my
is an
question,
indicator
because it will
that
come
he's
up.
getting something ready, because if he doesn't, he won't be able to proceed to either.
Or has it been found?
It could have been, that would be a minor miracle given what we've said in the last 5 minutes.
No, not by,
but, but I suspect that something like this is, to me, it speaks loudly of the fact that he's either trying to sell it, and
Is that,
in the
has
seller's
sale
pack.
agreed on?
Yeah,
Oh,
if it
that's-
comes out of the
that's my
seller's pack.
thought that it's solicitors have found it.
Citizens
And
have asked
suddenly
me.
the gates are open permanently.
And there's somebody there, isn't there?
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's,
Mm.
yes, I did look at it.
So no objection. Or does that mean it's either support or reject? So,
Is it realistic?
or I don't know, no comment or whatever.
Yeah, so how are you supporting, no commenting or commenting?
I just think, no, what's the point in objecting?
I
It's
have
already
no
had the
position.
time, so.
I have no position.
No additional comment.
No comment.
Mm.
No comment.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right, we've now got a proposed budget for next year. We've all received a copy of that. Jeremy and I had a chance to look at that with Yvonne. It's really a matter, as Yvonne has suggested, that if anybody would like, was thinking of any particular capital expenditure that requires money in excess of that contained within the budget, then now would be the moment to mention it.
I've got a couple of questions on the figures. Capital projects, is that
That's the one we're talking about.
is that a specific, the 5,000, is that a specific project or is
No,
that?
that's what I'm just asking.
Right,
We usually have something in,
Yeah.
that's what I'm allowing for,
right,
for you to
okay.
come up and say, this would be a good idea.
Mhm. And the maintenance of the churchyard, cemetery and memorial garden, what sorts of things would that cover?
Anything that fencing that needs repairing.
With the wall of the churchyard, for example, which every now and again collapses in sections. And hedging
Yeah,
mowing.
things that are
Okay,
just,
yeah,
and the regular things are the mowing of the churchyard.
that doesn't come in that.
no,
one.
those
No.
caretakers can.
Okay.
Last
Yeah, I've got a
question.
couple of
Sorry.
things. Go on, Paul.
No, I was going to ask a question on capital projects. Without, just to help me understand this, what's a capital project in the context of this? Because I'm thinking if does it have to be construction or acquisition of asset?
It's things like, we've still got the play area, obviously, that we would
Yeah,
like to do things
that's right.
with.
Yeah.
And when, I'm going down the right road, when we are able to do this, we
Yes.
will have money. It's going to be an awful lot of money
Yeah.
that we won't have just there. We will say that yes, we are definitely going for this a play area. Or if there's anything else.
I'm hoping, of course, the play area might well be funded by ABS 106.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we can
Okay,
get in
well,
on the discussions.
So maybe this is looking too quickly into the future, but in a recent coverage of parish councils taking a more active role in supporting a rural church to be more of a community building, that's going to be requiring funding. And to me, you know, various people are already getting quite interested in, well, we should take the pews out and do this, and we can open it up there, it could be 24 hours, we have a medical service being delivered in there. There's lots of stuff going on, and that's why I would suggest that at some stage, I really don't want to use the word consultant, because that always adds several noughts onto anything. But I think that at some stage there needs to be some resource put into planning, or to get at least gather some ideas together, so that they make sense when we're looking at or discussing. So, well, it's before putting forward an actual project cost and saying we want to do this, this and this and it costs that. But we need to, I think if we are going down that route, and there's a growing argument for parish councils taking that responsibility or involvement in rural churches to keep them going as viable buildings.
I mean, just to take this up a little bit, so this is sort of breaking news, I think probably triggered by Simon Jenkins's letter in the Times, and I get the impression there is a sort of cascade or a groundswell of opinion, just beginning to build up about how it's going to work and how it would work, and I think it is seen to be a good idea that churches may eventually come, say, under parish council control and so on. And in the last few days, I have had an offer of an extremely large sum of money.
Into the PCC budget?
Into the appropriate budget of the time. And when I say large, I mean large.
Well, how exciting
All
is
your
that?
worries are over.
Hmm?
All your worries are over.
Probably not, probably just beginning. And that's, yes, probably I don't think I'll get you to minute that.
Do we write a Dear Donald letter?
Yeah. Yeah. But,
We don't need a billion.
I mean, and a serious one, not just tinkering around.
I guess that kind of almost not reinforces, but that's the way I was thinking of that we need to probably, this budget is for the next financial year. We are a few months away from the start of the financial year, aren't we? So if you take the end of the next financial year, that's a year and a half approximately. By that stage, during that period of time, it may well be that it's valuable for the parish council to at least have an initial appraisal, view and understanding, maybe take some public consultation. You know, we heard earlier on that one of the objections to some of the plans are if the county council there's no public consultation at all. And I personally feel that's really important in a village to make, because otherwise we could be chasing after something that no one's ever remotely interested in. But I think we need to think about maybe invest. So I guess at this stage we don't have to be specific about.
I think that you are talking some distance in the future. Maybe next time we look at a budget, there may be some more positive information. I really wouldn't want us to trespass into the territory of the PCC, just lob money across into what might be a bottomless pit. I am very keen on the long-term possibility of the community owning the church, and if we owned the church, then we clearly be prepared to commit.
No, I agree. The challenge with it is the long grass is getting longer and the can gets kicked further down.
And the challenge is taking the community with us.
Yeah, that's exactly
right.
Exactly.
One of the things that happened to me at the concert on Saturday was I was going around town turning raffle tickets, and which was, people were incredibly generous, to be honest. The raffle raised towards the church a lot of money, and you'd be amazed how much it raised. But then one or two people said, "Oh, I thought this was a church. I don't bring any money if I go to church. I don't have to pay for anything. It's free, isn't it?" I said, "Well, how do you think we maintain the place? And I didn't bring any. I didn't think I had to pay anything for this, because it's the church is traditionally the people's place, and it's nothing to pay. So we need to try and dispense with that attitude if we can.
That's when you produce the card machine.
Well, no, I know. No, I didn't. I decided it was a slightly lost cause. I needed a long time to deal with this one.
There was an interesting point that struck me just hearing the toing and froing, that there is half a precedent of a different sort, that by statutory instrument some years ago, and I don't remember how many years, I did find it, the diocese, nationally, all dioceses took over all vicarages and rectories, and that's why the parish doesn't own that house any longer, and Canterbury is renting it out. Plainly, if they get shot of the church, they must give the house back.
I think that's a good point, because I think what one has to remember is that I suppose it's the current rectory was built on land donated to the village by Reverend Howells.
living in the old road.
That's right.
Yeah, and there has been dialogue about this with the diocese, and they have stamped their feet and said it's ours, and we.
Well, it is, there was a statutory instrument. The government
Yes,
simply
and
transferred them all
we
in one
have
go.
said we don't really agree with you, and they sort of said tough,
Well, it's law, but the
Yeah.
fact is that if they're saying, well, we're getting shot at the church, you can have it, parish council, the house logically should come back again. The house went to the diocese who supposedly now maintains the church, except we give them the money, they both come back together.
I mean, what's pertinent perhaps is a Rotherham, something's happening there to
They're selling it, aren't they?
they're selling it, yes, and it's going to be demolished, I think.
That's right.
Because
Canterbury,
it's said to be full of,
that's
dry
because
rot, but it's a newer building than ours anyway.
that's all because of Moneypenny being scheduled by Ashford,
Yes.
so we're led to believe, for demolition, you
Yes.
know.
Although that's on hold now.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. A big storm, but supposedly they were going to knock them down, and then, I mean, there's obviously enough money in the housing budget in Ashford to.
I wouldn't be surprised if we read
Just
in the
next door.
fairly near future of a parish that has actually made a formal approach to its diocese to purchase its church. Probably one in a worse situation than we are, with a congregation of 5 as opposed to 25.
I think the statute involved. Unfortunately, church dogma is riddled with statutes. You can't basically do anything without breaking statutes. If you have a PCC meeting without a cleric present, you're breaking the law.
So there are ways around it, as we saw in Hawkhurst when that church was converted into privately owned apartments. Things do move on.
But then they had decommissioned the church by that time.
But it's a staging process. Yeah, the point I was just making was that at some stage we need to probably, if we're interested as a parish council or the future parish council, probably need to support the thinking.
I think so. I've got a funny feeling that by the time it happens, none of us are going to be on this committee.
Okay.
It's a worry when the doctor says that.
Yes.
Sadly.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
interesting.
things like the war memorial and the surrounding, does that come out of the capital budget, or does that come out of something else?
That will be, yes, that will come out of capital, built up. So we've got War Memorial, that's already in reserves.
Right, okay. The other thing I've got is the triangle, the little wall round that leaves on the town.
Right,
Mm.
that could be.
That's maintenance really,
That's a good
unless
one.
it was a big job.
Mm.
It's only in a couple of places.
But then again, all our accounts actually are just cash. We can put, whatever labels we want on things, but we're basically a cash account.
Well, if there's a serious issue there, then perhaps Alf can look at it and advise what might need to be done.
Can you mind me tomorrow?
Okay, thank you for that. So otherwise, people are happy with the budget. It's not going to involve, a significant increase in precept or anything like that. So it won't disturb too many people.
At the next month, we will have to decide on the precept.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you will see that, it is an increase on last year's.
Yes, I think it should be an increase on last year. I think every year should be a small increase to avoid a large increase at a later date.
Seems to be the clerk's salary is the biggest increase.
That's statutory.
Yeah.
Correspondence, none to date. Anything to add to that? Working party reports. Anything from Alf? I think I'd like formally to thank him for the way he turned out the area around the memorial for
Yes.
Here, here.
the
That's a good job.
11th.
Yeah.
I thought it looked really beautiful actually in the sunshine. The sun came out at just the right moment.
It's interesting that the number of people said just that, standing around there.
Yeah.
And I understood there was somebody in the village who complained about it, who said it looked dirty a few days before that.
Yeah.
And who I don't know who they are, but they're clearly in the minority.
Yeah.
I'll pass that on, thank you.
I was asked several times how many people came to the memorial. How many do we think there were?
I counted up, I reckon to 100 and I couldn't see them all.
I said about 100.
So I think 100 plus, 100.
I think it was 100 plus.
100, I would say.
There's nothing we can do, is there? And I know we're not really allowed to do this, but the traffic that's speeding past at the time is pretty boring. Informally, we just put up, a roadblock or something for it.
Road closed,
Just every other road's closed in the country. Why not just close the War Memorial Road just for 5 minutes?
Tempted and done.
Even for the 2 minutes. If
Yeah,
these
2
people
minutes.
could
I
stop
mean,
those 2
to
minutes.
be honest, the traffic, screaming to a halt, driving up behind you, detracts from it so much that I really think it's something we should try and address. Not every village and church and War Memorial is, on the main, or on a reasonably main road. And, like Tenterden, for example, they're well off the road, and it doesn't matter so
Well,
much.
they do
They're
close the road,
right
I
at the
think.
junction.
Or they have in the past.
They have in the past.
They get allowed.
I would seriously propose that we actually try and find a way of stopping the traffic for 3 minutes. What do you think, Wayne?
It should be done. I mean, the centre of Ashford, I was at Ashford this year, they've managed to close a lot of roads in Ashford for the occasion. So
Well, there we are.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly practical. We have to apply.
it's easy for me to say that because I'm not the Kent Council
They
member.
closed the high street in Tenterden.
Yeah. So
We'd have to pay, Kent will put their hand out and say that they're civil servants, as it were.
well, personally, I mean, I'm prepared to come down 20 minutes early and just close it.
And just stand there with your hand up.
Might as well just put some cones out.
Well, a bit like cake
I
on
just put.
Sunday.
I'll borrow from Attleborough Council a road closed
A
sign.
lollipop.
Yeah.
I
And
might
just
have
close it.
a...
You wouldn't. I mean, let's face it. I might get into trouble, but I almost certainly wouldn't. And
I
it would be
think
done.
there was a car that did slow down and stop. I noticed.
Oh, look
at the 2 minute silence.
Well, I mean, that was fine, but I mean, I'd rather he didn't. I'd rather he actually didn't have his car there at all.
No, it's a busy road at all times. I mean, this evening I was passed by a truck, one of those, with the zigzags on the back, sort of motorbike. It must have been doing 70 miles an hour coming past me on the straight bit down there. And,
I think it makes you realise as well how fast they do come up the street.
Yes.
Because you can hear them coming
Yeah.
from the service.
So that's a proposal, and I think we should find a way of doing it either formally or, if necessary, informally.
yeah.
Well, all we've got to do is collect signs over the next year of road closed ahead, and we'll get them all the way from the Peace and Plenty to here.
Yeah.
And I mean, basically, I'll nip down to the church, put one up there.
We could put diversion down Acton Lane. couldn't
Yeah.
we?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't advise that you put up diversion. Closing roads one thing, but creating your own diversion is a whole new can of worms.
I'm sure there are lots of methods I can think of, but I won't tell you them all.
Declaring independence.
I was going to say, I'll listen in a recorded meeting with the member president.
Anyway, we do agree that it was a nuisance and we must try
And
and
it troubles me every year, so it's nothing new, but I think we should do something about it.
Yeah,
I think the time has come.
thank you, Alice.
Can I just add,
Yeah, sure.
caretaker, it is Al's birthday on Thursday.
Okay.
Quite an important birthday for her.
70.
He's not 80, is he?
No.
Oh, no.
He speaks very highly of you, Jeremy.
He did.
Well, yes.
He's 70. Good for him.
Well, add our birthday best wishes to the congratulations.
Can we get him a card?
I've already got them.
All, can we all sign it?
Right, so
Let's have a look at the synopsis from there.
that's exactly what it's tomorrow.
Yeah. Good. Let's see how much.
Okay, monthly transactions. Monthly transaction statements. Anything special to draw our attention to? They look fairly straightforward.
No.
It's nice to see you move the money around, that's
Yes, so I do code it so that you can see
absolutely. I can't go through it, so.
see where it goes.
Anybody got any particular issues about expenditure?
No.
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 Just our first, we're very low on burial money coming in this year. This is the first one.
We haven't had any burials at all. Well, that's just as well, because they have to be burying them on the street, so you don't put it in the cemetery
No
box.
problem.
Well, that's pre-booking, isn't it?
Well,
Miss,
I
Miss Nicholas,
Well, I'm pre-booked.
Well, maybe it's
no,
time
it's
to
not.
promote
It's,
the pre-booking
well,
opportunity.
we've done, we've been there, done that.
Yeah,
Numerous years ago, when we were low on,
Yeah, I think maybe, we could have bog off, couldn't we?
when we got the new one, yes. I'm not taking advance bookings in the moment, I've got a list of
Okay.
people that would like to.
Yeah.
No, this is for his brother, but I don't have a name.
Douglas.
Douglas Nid. But
Just
it's
when
a-
I saw Nick, I thought, oh, that's
yes,
fine.
but you see, he has purchased.
Yeah.
He has purchased it, it's in his name.
Mm.
But then he can put whoever he
Yeah.
puts in it, but it's just a single plot, it won't be.
Has your latest effort to get the change of use lodged with Ashford been approved as verified yet, or are they still faffing
No, I
around?
haven't heard back yet.
okay.
There's some hopelessness.
Is there anything that Johnny or Wayne can do to help us?
I was going to say, I'd like to, I'm quite happy to give them a nudge, whether it helps or.
Yeah, I don't think so, let's give him a try.
No.
Let's,
I
if
think
it goes through,
no.
then
I think if Johnny's offering that, we should say yes, please.
I've got a problem, if I,
Mm.
I mean, I haven't actually, I was bringing this up under cemetery at the end, but if you remember, it was a detailed plan that I was missing. So you can see there's
Great, did it for you.
but,
It's very detailed and it says where north is, so that's
Yes.
clearly.
Excellent.
and I had to point out that because when he was drawing it roughly, he had them all sort of going across from the thing, but they had to face east, so we had to, I don't know if you could just sort of see it, but he's produced
Is that causing more delay, or?
no, this is what I had, this is what I needed.
Delay.
Okay, we've got that now.
Yes, I've got it,
So,
it's got
are
it
you
now.
optimistic that you submit it?
Yes, so I'm
I
hoping.
mean, could we not give a copy to Johnny to thrust into their
Well,
hands?
let's just let it just go, because
But we've
they
been
haven't
getting,
had anything.
we've been getting it here for about 15 years.
Indeed.
Let me just get this
Oh, excuse me.
and find out, and then if we've got a problem, then I will be straight to you.
That's right. So you're a coiled spring on this one, right?
If there's a problem.
It's a problem.
Yes, well, it'd be nice to
Coiled spring.
dealt with. No decisions received. So, open spaces.
Nothing new.
Nothing new on open
Nothing.
spaces. Public rights way.
And just that, well, I don't know if Sally's got anything else, but Tim Piper I contacted because the paths hadn't been reinstated across his fields. He came back to say that he's getting his team to go out and do all those and repair any broken stars, because I sent him a photo of a broken star as well. So he was good on that, but he did say that he was asking whether the parish council could do anything about people walking on his land, not on the public rights of way.
Mm.
And
What, like shoot them?
Tim Piper.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm imagining, obviously when we walk, use the public rights of way. I think a lot of dog walkers walk probably around.
Yeah,
He said he was going to send me a map of where people are
Oh.
walking, that he doesn't want them to walk.
I think that's a bit disappointing, really, in that, as I said, well, we're right on the edge of his fields and have tended to walk them. I mean, they're very sensitive, I think, about the pheasants, which is one area that probably...
It's also, if people are walking it on a regular basis and then can say in 20 years' time,
You
we
establish.
want that as a public right of way, that's what he doesn't want. That's why I think he's keen now, and I've pointed it out, to actually mark these footpaths.
Mhm.
Because if we can say there's no excuse for walking round.
It
Did
would
you
be
not just
interesting
say
to see
that
what he
it's not
marked
been
out.
safe?
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's why I haven't seen
I mean,
it.
people have walked around the edge of the street field all of my life.
Mm.
And there's no
When I was a Boy Scout, which is a very long time ago, then the countryside code said you walk around the outside of fields, always.
Mm.
And of course there's
Wayne, you've got a point.
people remember that.
Well, yeah, I was just saying, you know, what your first point there was that he's got to reinstate so it's easily to be seen, the public footpath. Then in the next breath, he's actually asking for people to stick to the footpath. So I think he's got to then maybe do a better job of highlighting
that's
where
what
that
I've always
footpath
said.
is himself across his farmland.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got to kill off that crop or whichever
That's
way
it,
he's
he's
got to
going
mark
to.
it off in a better way.
But he hadn't done it at all, you see.
Well,
We walked straight through the other day, didn't we? Right the way across the field, there was no sign of the footpath at all.
I feel he's got to help himself. That's my personal opinion.
The worry about the 20-year thing, and I can't think of the adverse possession thing, that is using it as a right in the law. In other words, you've got to be walking around, you can't just say, well, I've walked along there for 20 years, you've got to have been walking along there for 20 years, using it as a right, which means that there was no indication from the owner that you were not entitled to. Didn't mean just that you
I
did.
thought it was 3 years.
20.
Mm.
20.
20. So,
But I have said that it's his, as landowner, it's his responsibility to mark up where people should
yeah.
have explained.
You know that where we go through College Wood, I don't know if it's still there, but there was a sign in College Wood saying the landowner is willing for you to walk around the rest.
Yeah, that's right.
But by making it he is willing, you are no longer doing it as a right,
Right.
and therefore he doesn't lose it.
It's permitted.
Yeah. He's given you permission, and therefore you do not have a right.
Whilst we're on walking and dog walking, Vince and Nicola, who open and close the church every day, are away from the 25th of November until the 9th of December. And I'm working hard to try and create a rota for opening and closing the church. So anybody who walks a dog who might be, get lost and be near the church at 9 o'clock or at 4:30. Don't anybody rushing, I just thought I'd ask. I have asked the obvious people.
is the dog provided or?
A dog could be let.
Have you got some days covered,
I've got some days covered. I've got some days covered, but I've still got. I've got to try and. Wayne, thank you so much.
Thanks, Wayne.
See you next
Thank
week.
you very much.
Take care.
I've got it's 30 days in November, so I've got 19. I've got 15 days to cover. And I've covered probably half of them.
If you send round the vacant dates, you might get some volunteers.
Well, have you had any ideas about people who get lost with their dog, for instance? I've got a few other ideas who I haven't seen yet, and I'm hoping this Monday.
I've heard you've been cancelled, people. I've heard today.
The news is out there.
Can you still pay them
It's
today?
funny how rude and strange, isn't
Not
it?
only now do we have to buy home for Christmas trees and raffle tickets,
Yeah, I
but
know.
now it's locking and unlocking the church.
I know. People see me coming and across the road on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't got any raffle tickets today. And just one more on that, the point of interest, whoever came to the concert, quite a lot of people did. And made a lot of money in a remarkably short space of time. I think we made about £1,800, which we did quite pleased with. We'd like to know the parish council. The village working at its best.
Can I ask how many trees have been sponsored?
Yes. Do you want to know?
Yeah, because we've sponsored one of them.
Yeah, and I was going to ask Yvonne whether parish council's paid its.
Not yet, no. They will do when I do a pay run.
Yeah, excellent, that's good. We've sold. We've got 20 trees being delivered. We've definitely sold 19. So there's going to be a scrabble around for the last one. And we've got probably 30 or 40 sponsors. So, I mean, the general fund is on its uppers, but that's going to help because we haven't even got to the date of the festival yet, but we've already raised over £2,000. And the treasurer is beginning to walk around the village with a slight spring in his step, rather than that drugs that he might have had before.
But, that is so encouraging and again plays into this feeling that the community is actually keen on the church. Whether or not they go to the church is another matter, but
What's been quite interesting is there have been one or two sort of community projects, and I managed to identify one or two people who live in, I don't think I'll give any examples, but you take the obvious sections of the village, and there are 2 or 3 areas that have come up, with £2 or £3 from every household. And there are 2 or 3 areas that have tried and have failed, but there it is. So that's been quite encouraging. I'm still asking around in the meadows for somebody to lead, but not looking at Jeremy, although he lives there, because he didn't know he's doing the Parish Council, but there are people, and
Probably you got 2 of them are walkers
Doing
and they're
the
doing the
walk.
train.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. So there are some people who've been asked 5 or 6 times by different agencies,
Well, the Meadows have got the ones who are doing the trees,
That's
as
what I'm
Leon
saying.
said. You've also got Nick for the chairing, the Friends of.
Yes. Johnny doesn't have a fund that would like to purchase or sponsor a Christmas tree at the church festival in the beginning of December, does he?
I have a long-standing
Alright.
girlfriend who always wants a Christmas tree.
I mean, the deal is they're delivered on the 3rd of December. Decorating is on the 4th. They cost about £50.
That's a sponsorship.
That's sponsorship, and then you get the privilege of decorating it.
And you can take it away, can't you?
Take it home.
Well, it's still up to after Christmas, by which time the needles are drooping.
But then you can take it home.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
This is how it
No,
works.
it wasn't that.
Twisting arms. I'm quite happy to. Quite happy
Yes,
to.
there you go. Sold.
There you are.
They're all sold now.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
The moral of the story is book early to avoid disappointment.
That's the
That's
next
what
one.
I'm done now.
I'm working with Roger Kimber on this.
Yeah.
Is it therefore, in order for me to submit your name to him?
Can you commit?
Yeah, of course.
I must say my name. Thank you very much. It's been,
Nothing like cornering about it.
and I had you in mind throughout the meeting, actually.
You said, Alan, that the
Quick line
Christmas
ahead.
trees were staying up till after Christmas, but there was a story earlier that I heard that they were only going to stay up for about a week.
We were told we had them taken down by Monday,
Yeah.
and I said that wasn't going to happen, and I was told, what do you mean? And I said, there's no way I can take that. I mean, there's nobody able-bodied these days on the PCC, so we couldn't physically get them down, and it would have been shameful to uproot over 20 trees and use them for a couple of days. And who's going to decorate a tree that would say decorating for 2 days?
Everyone thought
I
that.
think you might have had a boycott now.
I said it
They need
would-
to be up
it
for
would-
the-
it
they
would-
need to be
it
up
would
for
destroy
the-
our reputation as a stroke. So I said, you know,
Absolutely.
I said,
I'm quite right.
I was told quite definitely I had to do it, and I said quite definitely I'm not doing it.
Sure, that's fine.
You can say the Parish Council in agreement with you.
Worth
I
worth
think
They need,
making,
to, they need to be there for the village community carol service.
worth making sure, Alan, that not rumour, that original proposal is squashed, and that people don't think that is still the case.
I had
You've
a
done what you
third person today who's asked me that very question, and I
You said you've done it.
I mean, I've done my best to squash it.
Yeah.
The argument for was some sort of religious one about and no decoration in the church or something. Or
There are two reasons. One is that in Advent you're supposed to not have plants and greenery and flowers. You can get away with ivy sometimes, but you certainly can't have flowers up to Christmas. That was one argument. And the second was that there's, fair enough, there was a planned educational event where they were going to have stalls around the church, and this was related to the school. So it had all been planned by the clergy. And then, then we said we're going to have a Christmas tree festival. And they said, well, you can't, because we booked our stalls.
couldn't they come back? It would be lovely to have stalls.
I said that.
Stalls
I
for Christmas
said,
trees.
well, put them up so you can do what you like. There'll be plenty of room for us all.
Mm.
But that wasn't acceptable.
Is there going to be one big tree as well?
There's going to be two big
A
ones.
Christmas tree.
And you've seen the new balustrade, which everybody will have seen.
Yeah.
We're going to have two big ones up behind the balustrade, which I think will look magnificent.
And do they have to? But they're green and they're foliage.
Yeah, but that has been swept aside.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah,
And I just think it's
and
nonsense.
you're absolutely right. But you're not supposed not to have foliage in the church.
we can blame Oliver Cromwell for many things.
So there'll be two big ones up above the new balustrade,
Fantastic.
and they'll be safe there because they won't topple down on top of it, hopefully, because of the balustrade. And then the rest will be on scaffolding boards on top of the pews.
As in previous years, where it's worked really well.
Yes.
There you go.
And there's prizes for the most imaginative and original.
Mm.
So,
You can tell you all the half that, so
yes.
spurs her on to come and decorate it.
Yes, I mean, I've heard some of the ideas, and some of them are really quite racy.
Mm.
I'm not going to let on what they are because it will be training confidence. But there's a tip.
Well, you wouldn't want me to decorate it.
Originality and you know, I mean,
You can be chief admirer.
Exactly.
That's a very important role.
brilliant, thank you.
Well, Alan, congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Yes, we can speak about this afterwards.
See you afterwards.
Well done. Next meeting, 13th. No,
Highways.
we sent highways.
We just
Sorry, I've just been ticking
away.
Highways. Okay, anything exciting to announce highway-wise?
I've got not exciting, but I had a phone call from Cliff Harmon at the UNL.
Oh yes.
A request, because as he pointed out, there's a road sign that says Poplar Road, but there's nowhere does it say Stocks Road. And he is now, because they have so much delivered, he's not 100% well. People can't find him, because I think he probably is going as number 1 Stocks Road, and nobody knows where Stocks Road is. So he was asking whether we could ask for the Stocks road sign.
We've got a big enough sign just across the road saying UNL.
Yeah, but I probably doesn't use that, that's what I'm saying. He says it's number 1 Stocks Road, so I'm presuming. So I wonder whether it was something that, we could sort of, when we get, whether a highway improvement plan, whether it would come under that, or whether we go straight, or whether you don't think it's a good idea. I said I would.
I have a feeling that when there was all the issue about Owen's close call, it was Ashford has somebody who has to deal with that. But I had someone come along one time and they were having a squabble with the residents about where this damn sign could go, and they came up with an answer eventually, but I think it was an Ashford person that was
Mr. Ashford, you know.
doing it.
It could well be. You look very crestfallen with that. Shall I ask a
No,
question,
no,
get an answer, and then...
Well, if you
send
can
it to
find out whether it is,
Yeah, that's fine.
then
Okay.
I'm happy to take it forward.
No, that's fine. I'll
Thank
get
you.
you an answer.
Is it likely to be a cost to Wittersham, or something we could expect? A higher
No, there's
authority?
a statutory obligation, I think I found, when it was going on about Owen Close, whatever. There's a statutory obligation, I think, on Ashford that they have to sign roads.
Okay. Well,
Failing that,
There'll probably be a
the
less
cheaper
house.
option might be for us to just buy him a big sign that says number 1 Stocks Road and put on the building so that the delivery driver can. And the other thing that is more and more relevant, and actually highways use this, is 3 words. You absolutely pinpoint within 1 square metre anywhere in the world with 3 words.
I know, I've got it.
You can report potholes on using that.
Yeah. So many things.
okay, well, Johnny will kind of investigate.
I'm writing an email now.
Well done. Cemetery Churchyard, right, we've
Yes.
mentioned the planning application. Anything else of relevance? No? Okay.
Later next week.
Next meeting, 13th of December, all welcome, preceded by seasonal refreshments. It usually pushes the number of members of the public up by 100% to 3 or 4.
Outcomes.
And 8:20, that's a record.
No, we haven't finished it.
We haven't
No,
finished
I
it.
thought you said you finished.
no.
My computer's run out of juice.
We've got part 2.
Okay, hopefully Johnny might have to come along there maybe.
If I've survived to the Christmas tree.
Yes. And items for information, Yvonne is going to report on 1 or 2 things that she's
Yeah,
been up to.
only briefly, just the ICCN question and answer webinar. I found it interesting, but there was nothing that actually applied to us, and sort of crematorium stuff. interesting, but the same thing that actually helped at that time. The Clear Council's webinar, that was obviously insurance, and that was interesting as well. And they were talking about having a business continuity plan, so that things like what happens if, like, something happened to the village hall, where will we meet? Having that already thought out and written down at the church.
That's cool.
I've got an identity hub.
You know, it's things like that, but perhaps we ought to, there ought to be something written down as to what happens.
We did do some of that for COVID, of course.
Yes.
The,
Yeah,
the,
that's
two,
right.
the two committees were set up
Yeah.
in order to be able to go if it was advantageous.
Yeah.
We didn't use them, but they're still there.
The emergency response plan has some of the bits that could be added into that.
Yes. Yeah, look at that.
Is that still under development?
That's still with Dave, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that is now, this whole system is just coming with the new templates that are supposed to help. I mean, it's been being piloted up in West Kent,
Right.
in the hills outside Seven Oaks. But the idea is that they will then be launched, I mean, I don't know the timing, but anytime soon.
Oh,
And the idea is that that should, because there's a lot of anxiety in certain quarters, as I'm told anyway, about the fact that really we either, in general, I mean there's 300 of us in Kent, and we either don't have emergency plans or they're not really very good, and they reckon, and it's things like saying, okay, we all know about if you get flooded, we all know about if a tree falls across the road, but what about the electricity going off?
Mm.
You know, what about the mobiles conking out? You know, those sort of things. And then what do you do? And the idea of these templates is that they're actually going to pose, I believe, those questions.
Right.
Well, you know how we've got a chainsaw anyway.
Right, so that's basically that one. And then Scribe, they have, it's the first one I've come across, Clark Stories, and they had the Clerk of Great Charlton Singleton chatting about what they do. They hold lots of events that sort of bring the community together. They're obviously bigger than
That's
us.
the pose shade.
Yes. And Yolanda was one of the
Yeah, sure.
ones there as well, so she was talking about it. But they had a colour run, tree trail, big park takeover, pump track, Halloween and craft event, all things arranged by the parish council to get the community, and so that the community knew more about what the parish council did, that sort of thing. And then they also had the clerk to Walton Community Council, which is part of Walton Keynes, a lot bigger. And they have a library of things, which is a community space. People donate things and then they borrow these things. And so that was,
Milton Keynes, whatever it is, town council, I suppose. I think when I did the thing with the LGA, I think they had a turnover of about $1 million then. It's not as big as a borough, but it's sort of heading that way.
but yeah, so that was, you know, that's like, so it was all interesting stuff.
It's good. We've got a very good library. You've already involved.
Yes.
Very good.
Right, well, that's the end of that. Thanks very much.
So what, you're going to go around and ask if anyone's in the house?
Yes. Thank you, Sally. Fixing my duty so succinctly. Colin, have you anything you haven't already expressed?
No, quite happy this evening, thank you.
Jeremy?
No, thank you.
Paul?
I'm assuming 6:30 for 7 at the next meeting. Is that correct?
Well, usually it's 6:45, you know,
Yeah.
6:45 sort of thing.
There'll still be something left at 7 o'clock probably.
Are we going to have proper glasses this time? I mean plastic ones, instead of those things where the bottom falls off and then they crack.
Well, you've
For years they work very well. They work very well.
Johnny, anything else?
Nothing but
Thank you for coming anyway. Sue? Anything? Sally?
Have we had any nominations for the award?
Yes.
Oh,
so it would be, and it's, one of them has come from the piece that was
Mhm.
in the
Oh, that's
magazine, but that's the only one.
Right.
But that came up with 2 names,
Okay.
the one I had to disregard and explain why, and the
Then
other.
another. Yeah.
So, yes, so hopefully, I haven't had any more, but
Can I just very quickly recount the story of the water leak at the church? And it's jolly to hear it as well. So, and it's another head and hand situation. So we were aware of the water meter rushing round at a massive rate of knots, and Castle Water, who are totally separate from South East Water, billing us at a rate of nearly £400 a month, which we can't afford, and previously we'd been at £10 a month. So they came out and they dug down and said it's definitely on the customer side, and we said, well, pity, but we know we'll see what we can do. And they said you would have to get somebody in to detect the leak. So I got an estimate for that, and it was £750, which we don't have. And then I pursued them a bit further, and they came down, they dug down again, and they said, no, it's definitely on the customer side. So we then thought, well, we'll just turn the water off, which we did, and we turned it on for christenings and nothing else. And then there was a leak in the manhole on the road, and somebody else reported it, and they came and dug down, because it was on clearly in their property, and they dug down and repaired the leak there, and our leak stopped. More or less, except for just a gentle turning. And our leak stopped, so I said, well, you know, well, we're now arrived back where I thought we were in the beginning. And they said, yes, but all right, okay, all right. We'll come and investigate it further. So now they've come back and investigated further, and they've dug down the path of the churchyard near the toilet block. And they've dug a big hole and left it. And then they've now reported back to me to say it's on the customer side. Again. Anyway, so it's just the sort of thing one's up against in the water board. I mean, you know, anyway, I thought I'd just tell you to make you feel better to tell somebody.
Would you turn the
Did
water
strike-
off again?
Well, it's not going to, it's not whizzing round now.
Right.
Yeah,
So, we have left it on. We do turn it off sometimes.
They
But
should-
what was wrong?
Because I mean, it's probably costing us £30 a month rather than £400 a month.
Have they exposed a pipe with water leak?
Well, there's a big hole and it's all covered over, and I haven't really got around to looking down the hole. But
There should be water in it, presumably, if there's a leak.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Did they get a faculty for digging in the graveyard?
Yes, yes, they only got an archaeologist as well.
Maybe a water diviner. I think Jane Water's sister is a water diviner.
But that's what I was going to get, but I was told, yes, we're happy to do it, it will be £750
What, for a water diviner?
for somebody to come along, and because there's quite a
They
stretch.
have a twig.
I know, but I mean, it's a stretch from the gate through the churchyard to the toilet block and to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So
That
much
could have been
meeting, you
anywhere.
know.
Things have changed.
Takes a fortnight.
If there's anybody who can think of anything to say or do, I'd appreciate hearing it.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
That is
Thank
it.
you.